tuning in, guys and girls, to my third podcast episode, which is going to be featuring my good friend and personal trainer and fitness model who lives way out in New York City, and he goes by the name of Andrew Bond. How you doing, And? What time is it over there, mate?
Very good, mate. It's now around 5:30 in the morning, so thanks for waking me up nice and early.
That's all right, no problem, mate. Anytime.
I had a nice cold shower to start the day anyway, so.
Beautiful. There we are. Don't mess around, mate. So yeah, this is my friend out in New York City. I'm based in Sydney. Long story short, we're both from Wales in the UK, and we've known each other for probably about 6 or 7 years now, and we're both into the same realm. And well, I consider us both to be pretty much experts in our field now, and we're both learning as we go along. And today we're going to be chatting about the topic intermittent fasting. So, and different methods of fasting and how that can benefit your health and benefit, numerous things, longevity, performance in the gym, and so on and so forth. So, firstly, I wanted to run through the benefits of fasting. When we're fasting, obviously, intermittent fasting is becoming more and more popular now as a hot topic. Andrew, how long have you, when was it you started implementing intermittent fasting, and what is your, if you can just give me a heads up on what your logic is and what your kind of, what your methods are, and if you could just explain exactly what it is to the listeners, based on what you've experienced.
I initially started throwing it in there probably a couple of years back when I was back in the UK, but at that time I don't think I was right mentally to do it.
Yep.
I was just doing it out of the kind of a fashion statement that it was the new in thing to do. I didn't look into it too deeply and didn't read into it, and I found it a struggle at that point.
Yeah, so it was almost like starvation instead of the health benefits that come with fasting.
Yeah, pretty much.
So you were doing it primarily, like you were saying to me just then. A lot of people do it primarily for fat loss and for losing weight, don't they? Which is, what you're saying is it could be. You could be setting yourself up for failure if you're going into it for the reasons you went into it, right?
Yeah, if you're highly stressed anyway. I was managing a gym at the time and my stress levels were through the roof. When you're in a highly stressful job all day and you add that on top of it, it just drives you crazy basically, because you're just hungry all the time. So It's probably not the best example to give. But recently I feel that I'm at a point now where I'm a lot healthier. I'm in touch with my body more, so I will utilize it more. So I'll utilize it now if I have like a busy day in work, and I need to be motivated and focused throughout the day. If I have, maybe I'm underladen calories, so I may have a high calorie day. So I'll utilize it when I need to give my digestive system a rest the following day. So a 16 to 20 hour fast then. Then maybe if I'm going into a fat loss phase, and I'll hold off on my food after training, just use fat as my main energy source, and my glycogen stores are depleted.
Okay. That was great information. I just wanted to just skim through exactly why I've aired this episode and based it on intermittent fasting, because it can be used as a very, very beneficial tool for health. I mean, the way I look at it is it's going to benefit your health in numerous different ways, and I want to in later episodes run through other stuff like Andrew was stating, your stress levels and how much you sleep in, what foods you putting into your body. These are all these are all at the top of the list, and fasting is just a tool you could use to benefit longevity. I mean, cellular repair. So what they found now with new studies is that the body actually kind of in a sense regenerates itself when you fast for certain periods. So myself, that's
if you prolong the fast a little longer, right?
24 to 72 hours, they say, don't they?
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So I mean, I think the most benefits when it comes to cellular repair and the immune system wiping out the immune system tends to wipe out dead cells, and basically the immune system kind of repairs itself. It's a process called autophagy, if I remember rightly. So the body, the cells kind of remove waste material from the system, the immune system, and it helps the body repair. But I think this is normally more common within like a 24 to 72 hour fasting period, which is a bit more extreme. I mean, myself, I tend to use intermittent fasting, which is more like a 14 to 18 hour fast, which I tend to integrate most days into my regime. So I'll normally kind of break my fast generally late morning or midday. So around about 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. I'll break my fast. And then I'll normally cut my food off the night before, around about 8, sometimes 9 p.m., depending on what time I finish work. I don't really plan this. I don't really schedule it as much now, which is a good thing, because before I used to have to kind of, really think about it and integrate it in myself. But now it's just become part of my lifestyle, which is what I wanted to kind of explain to the listeners. And you've managed to bring it in and jet it into a lifestyle as well, yeah, Andrew?
Yeah, that's right, mate. So I'll on my days where I'll do lower calories, probably where I do less activity, I'll probably aim for around 2,000, 2,500 calories because I don't need it to utilize it for energy. So I'll probably throw in then maybe a 16 to 18 hour fast on those days. Break it off probably 9 at night when I get home from work at my last meal.
Exactly the same as me, yeah. So I was saying I break mine at about 11, maybe 1 p.m. So I'm in exactly the same kind of window as Andrew. So I generally, I'll fast for about 14 to 18 hours each day within a 24-hour period. However, I've just found now, basically Dr. Rhonda Patrick, who is someone I really look up to, she is now saying that actually anything other than water takes you out of your fast technically. I mean, you're still in a fasted state, but you're also not, because your liver still has to kick out a bit of glycogen. So what I'm getting at here is I tend to have a coffee sometimes in the mornings. Obviously, I'm not eating, but apparently it's not quite as effective unless you're just having water. So I've tried to hold off the caffeine now as well for a bit longer. Do you normally still have a coffee in the mornings, or do you have a herbal tea?
I struggle without a coffee, if I'm honest.
Same.
So I'll throw in some black coffee when I'm fasting and water, and that's it.
Yeah.
I know people try and utilize amino acids, and obviously there's a craze bulletproof coffee now.
Yep.
Which totally breaks your fast, right?
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah. So that's it. Yeah. So I just want to run through the benefits real quick. So when you're fasting, as me and Andrew have gathered, basically you're not releasing, you're producing less insulin. You're not releasing as much insulin, and then insulin can be a fat storing hormone, right? So whenever we eat, especially when we have a meal which is high in carbohydrates or sugar, the body has to release a lot of insulin to regulate your blood sugar levels. And when you're fasting, it can basically, insulin resistance is a very kind of common thing now in the westernized world, where the cells just don't respond, and you get a buildup of glucose in the blood because the cells are not absorbing the basically the insulin. So that is a very bad, it's a detrimental kind of thing which people are getting now, insulin resistance. So when you're fasting, it actually reduces massively your risk of insulin resistance if you're doing it properly and you're putting the right whole foods in, which is what we'll come to soon. Also, it does make you more insulin sensitive as well, because you're not kicking out insulin all the time. You're only releasing insulin, say, for example, for me, in me and Andrew's case, 6 to 10 hours each day, because we're only eating within a 6 to 8 hour window, instead of eating all throughout the day and having breakfast, dinner, lunch and dinner, as a lot of people do. We're eating for a short period. So you're not releasing as much insulin, which is good for fat burning and for general health and longevity. Also, growth hormone, isn't it? And don't we release more growth hormone in a fasted state?
Yeah, we do, mate. Definitely a growth hormone release in a fasted state. And also it's known for fat burning qualities as well. But I'm not sure if you agree, but if you're prone to binge eating and your overall calories are not in check for that day, likelihood is you're still going to put on body fat anyway. So
Exactly.
I have a dog attacking me right now. I'm just going to step out 1 second. I'll be back.
No problem. So yeah, it's a very effective tool to use to boost your metabolism, and to generally, the way I look at it is, fat loss and getting leaner comes as a side effect from intermittent fasting, is what I've found. So if you're just kind of eating within let's say like a 8 to 10 hour window, so rather than getting up and maybe having breakfast in the morning, maybe holding off and breaking your fast like I do about midday-ish, you're only eating within like an 8 to 10 hour window, as opposed to eating a 12 hour window or even more. And actually it's been proven that if you eat for like 12 hours for over a 12 hour window, it can actually have detrimental effects on your health, looking at the long term and bigger picture. So they've actually done studies, recent studies actually, which show that eating within within an 8 or you say anything from a 6 to 9 hour window. So if you're fasting for about 14 to 16 hours a day, your metabolic rate speeds up. It can speed up, sorry. And also you got a lot more chance of building muscle. You got a better, it promotes muscle growth essentially. So it's quite crazy really to think that you would never think from holding off food for certain periods would help you build muscle faster, but actually your body's ability to assimilate nutrients and synthesize protein and break down the calories becomes a lot more efficient because you're telling your body it's basically not getting food as often, so it becomes more efficient. So longevity as well, eating within that 8 to 9 hour window actually has been proven better all-round longevity and health, and also endurance as well. They've proven in some athletes that they've improved endurance and cardiovascular stamina in general from just eating within an 8 to 9 hour window.
Is that with long distance runners or
long distance runners? Yeah, I think it's any kind of endurance athletes. They've done tests on cyclists and I think long distance runners, and they found they're more efficient. The body's more efficient, utilizing iron and red blood cells and hemoglobin and stuff from eating within a shorter window. So it's fascinating stuff really. And if you look at evolution, and I mean look at the history, and we evolved from kind of eating what was available and then sometimes having to fast for days. So I think it kind of makes sense really. What's your thoughts on that?
Exactly the same, man. If you would fast and you'd be hunting for food, you'd probably find an animal and you'd eat everything on the animal.
Exactly.
The outer layers to the carcasses to the eyeballs, I'd imagine.
Yeah, that's it.
So generally as well, you bring that into play, you're going to be, if you were going back to evolution, you're going to be eating the animal fats, carcasses, etc., and you're also going to be eating a lot of vegetables. So that's kind of the type of meal that I would generally break my fast with, is a high-fat, high-protein meal with a lot of vegetables. I do that because it's satiating. It fills me up following a long fast, and I don't want to overeat because I find if I go straight for carbohydrates or sugar, chances are I'm going to eat a lot of calories in one hit.
There we are. You just answered the question I was gonna fire at you then anyway. So yeah, I want to go into that as well. When I tend to break my fast, for the most part, I'll break my fast with plenty of veggies. I mean, I tend to have plenty of veggies every meal, just like yourself. But it'll be more of a kind of high protein, high fat meal instead of a carbohydrate rich meal, because as you said, it's going to give me a big rush of insulin then, and it's gonna kind of increase my cravings, and I'm not going to have as much satiety. So I'll tend to break my fast with a meal. Say for example, today for example, I broke my fast with salmon, some organic salmon fried in coconut oil, and half an avocado, load of greens, and some macadamia oil. So all of those things there I mentioned, like avocado, macadamia oil, which is a type of nut, and salmon, you get the omega-3 fatty acids. It's a really high fat meal, but healthy fats. It's not bad fats. It's healthy fats, and then that's gonna suppress my appetite for longer. So, yeah, I was gonna ask you as well, and what's the longest you fasted for? Because I remember you telling me you were gonna do a 48-hour fast before. Did that go down, and if so, how did it go down?
I utilized that probably in the wrong way to justify eating bad foods.
You weren't starving yourself again, were you, mate?
Huh?
You weren't starving yourself again, were you?
I starved myself, mate, and then I just binge ate. So I definitely wouldn't recommend that. But I did it for, I knew that I'm going to overdo it on Thanksgiving and Christmas. I'm only human. Yeah, exactly. I do slip up sometimes, So first time was Thanksgiving in America. I did it for 2 days. I felt like my energy surged. There's a moment where you're slightly hungry, but when you're working a lot of hours, I feel that I have extra motivation and drive. How did I break the fast? I broke it during the meal. So my wife's family's Spanish Dominican, so they have a lot of carbohydrates in their diet in terms of meal for Thanksgiving. So it's rice and beans. They have a good quality fatty meats like pork shoulder, things like that. So what I did first, I ate the meat and salad and vegetables first, and then I hit the carbs later. So I kind of ensured that I didn't overdo it too badly. Let's not mention like the couple of slices of pumpkin pie I had straight after that. But it didn't end up as badly as it could have, because I put that fast in first. But I wouldn't justify starving yourself first and then doing it.
That's what I wanted to share with the listeners as well. It's like a lot of people nowadays, their main goal is to get in shape. I mean, it's the kind of world we live in now. In a sense, it's a bit of a superficial world that we're in nowadays. And a lot of people, I mean, even when they come to you as a personal trainer, most people are looking to aesthetically kind of get in shape and look good. I mean, let's face it, we all want to look good, but we need to delve a bit deeper into being healthy and looking after our bodies. So when it comes to fasting, I mean, if you're going to go into doing intermittent fasting you're going into it to essentially just lose weight and lose body fat, you're definitely going into it for the wrong reasons. And I just wanted to make this clear. Yeah, like Andrew skimmed over at the start with me. Basically, I mean, you need to get the other stuff under control. So you need to be looking after your body. You need to be training properly. If you're going to train and lift weights to build muscle, which is the most effective way to get in shape as such, because it's going to elevate your metabolism, and not going to go too much into that, but we all know lifting weights is the most effective way to actually get in shape and sculpt your body. You need to be doing that properly. You need to be sleeping right. You need to be kind of obviously putting the right foods in. So intermittent fasting is a tool that can be used, and it can really, really benefit your health in numerous different ways. But you have to implement it properly, and you can't use it in a way where you're just going to be in your head kind of starving yourself and holding off food as long as you can, because that's just going to build more of an unhealthy relationship with food. And the bottom line is intermittent fasting, and any type of fasting really, it is a stress on the body, just like training, just like numerous things we can do to benefit our health. They are minor stresses on the body, which can be a good thing. However, it's still a stress on the body, and if you don't apply it properly and you're not getting your body in a healthy state prior to doing it, then it can be detrimental. So I wanted to clear that up. Go on.
What about people who should probably implement fasting, like those who don't enjoy breakfast? Mm-hmm. You don't have to eat breakfast. It's not the most important meal of the day. We know that now.
Yeah, we know we've all been brainwashed. Let's go over that quickly, Andrew, as well. I mean, even eating, let's just look at like eating 3 meals a day. Where did this come from, if you think about it, there's not a great deal of logic in eating, like you said, breakfast. Breakfast being the most important meal of the day. I mean, that has come from people trying to make money, from these companies marketing to sell their cereals and the processed foods, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Same with eating frequently meals filled with protein. That's from protein companies, supplement companies doing that as well.
Yeah, so let's put that out there.
Drinking straight after training a protein shake. Definitely. Again, you can fast after training. It's probably better for your gut anyway.
That's it. So stopping you there quickly, like our paradigm, mine and Andrew, our paradigm has completely shifted over the years. I mean, it's almost what we're telling you is what we have kind of used to transform over the last few years. I mean, it's almost like the opposite of what we've been told, isn't it? Let's eat. You need to eat every couple of hours, protein every couple of hours. Eat little and often, 6 meals a day. But in reality, that's actually probably worse for your health in the long term. If you think about it, you're making your body constantly work to break down food. So your body is under a little minor bit of stress every time it has to digest food. So if you can do it more infrequently and put the right foods in, surely that makes sense in terms of longevity. You'd think that would be a lot better, wouldn't you, And?
Mm-hmm. And I think also another benefit I found from it, probably one of my top 3 benefits, is not having to rely on prepping meals, relying on Tupperware, and that allows me to put my energy into other more important things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm not constantly worried about where the next meal is coming from. Next meal. Now I know that if I haven't got food with me, I can just hold off for 2, 3, 4 hours or more. Exactly. I'm not gonna die. I'm not gonna starve. My muscles not gonna waste.
I can totally relate to that, because obviously doing what we've done with Andrew's done a lot of different modeling shoots, and we both competed on stage numerous times. And I used to take my bag, my rucksack with a chiller in there, had an integrated chiller in there, and I wouldn't go anywhere without my 5 or 6 meals with me. That's no way to live for a start. And I used to think, muscle was going to fall off my body if I missed a meal. But now now after implementing fasting into my regime, now I know, just as Andrew was saying, I'm not going to starve to death. If I'm in work and let's just say I have a meal in work, and then I've got like 5 clients in a row, and I've got a busy, I've got emails to do and admin or whatever, and I sometimes have to go 6, 7, sometimes 8 hours, then an 8-hour gap without food. But I know that I'm not going to starve to death, and I could just eat when I get home, and muscle's not going to fall off me. It's all a myth, having protein within the 20-minute window after training. That's another myth. It's actually better to wait for a bit to let the blood settle in your stomach. And yeah.
How much better is that for you psychologically now? Thinking about that 8-hour gap you have in work, and beforehand you would have been like, right, oh my God, I got to eat, I got to get a protein shake in, like processed protein shake.
Exactly.
How much added stress would that be to you?
So much added stress, yeah.
Where now you're just relaxed and calm, and you're going to get more benefits from less stress.
Definitely.
Too important, okay? If you generally eat more during the afternoon, you have a busy lifestyle, so you might be a businessman. You know, even if you do have business meetings, the options there probably aren't the best for you in terms of what you have to eat. There's obviously a lot of processed options or sugary options that they have in these office meetings.
That's it. And
it's
even
not
for the average person, yeah, totally.
to fast during that time for a couple of hours, honestly.
That's it. And even for the average person who works like, let's just say like a 9 to 5, if you like. I mean, let's face it, if they could get to a point where they're like, okay, yeah, do you know what? I'll give it a go. I'll miss breakfast, and then I'll, because people who work 9 to 5, and just generally, I mean, a lot of people do like to have like a feast in the evenings, right? I mean, it's quite nice once you've been in work all day. Come
it's
home,
great.
Yeah, have a nice feed. It's a social thing as well, right? If you have family, come home, you sit around the table. It's a social gathering. That's food brings people together, so it is a big part of everyone's life. So in a sense, if you were to skip breakfast, maybe break your fast midday on your lunch break, just working a 9 to 5 now. This is just for argument's sake. Have a nice healthy meal for your lunchtime, and then come home in the evening and have a big feast. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Because that's another myth we've attached eating late to obviously putting on body fat. Now, in a sense, if you're eating directly before bed every night, it's not going to be ideal for your digestion. But eating big meals in the evening, is that bad, Andrew?
No, not really. Unless you're prone, obviously you probably shouldn't utilize it if you're prone to binge eating as well, and you're into junk food, because likely it is you're going to overeat.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, and that's it. It just opens up the floodgates then for bad habits. So that's another thing I wanted to clear up as well. Me and Andrew have we've both built up a good relationship with food now, and just to basically just to cap it all off, we've both been in a place where, because we've done a lot of fitness competitions, and we're both like primarily like aesthetically driven, if you like, before, and we've been to a place where we didn't have a very healthy relationship with food, where we would kind of restrict calories. We thought we were being healthy by cutting down and eating kind of what we consider to be healthy foods, but in reality we're just eating very similar foods all the time, not having much rotation in our foods. And then what would happen when it gets to the weekends, then you'd have something bad, maybe let's say for example on a Friday night you'd have like a Domino's, right? You want to have your cheat meal, and then sometimes that would form into a whole weekend of binge eating, and then back to Monday, then I'd be like, right, trying to cut my calories again and put my body under so much stress, and my mind as well. I mean, you can relate, and right?
Yeah, I've joined you on several more and several weekends. Yeah, and it's got out of control when we're together. So
exactly.
Let's put that in the past. Good times.
I'm traumatized, but it's actually quite funny the amount of calories we put away.
We learn, right?
Yeah, you live and you learn. But yeah, me and Andrew met in Vegas, right, about 6 years ago. We went on a trip to Vegas with a few mates, and we met then, and we've been mates ever since. But yeah, we've been on our ups and downs, roller coasters with food, and we both do intermittent fasting on a regular basis now. I tend to do, I'd say on average about 4 times a week, maybe 5 times a week. I'll be just eating within, say, let's say an 8-hour window. So I'll just be eating, say, between about 12 and 8 p.m. Roughly most days of the week. When it gets to the weekend, then I'll just give myself a bit. I'll tend to have breakfast then, and you can be more social on the weekends then as well. That's another thing, if you want to go out and have your breakfast, with friends or whatever on the weekends, it just gives you a bit more flexibility, and you kind of appreciate things a bit more as well then, because you're kind of switching it up and having more variety in your life. So that's definitely helped me on a social level as well. So anything else you wanted to throw in there, and or any other stuff?
We can do people who probably shouldn't fast as well.
Good call.
People who are athletes, for example, who are training twice a day. If you're training twice a day, chances are you're gonna have depleted glycogen stores after your first training session, so you should start stocking up then. Probably people who are in a highly stressed environment as well. They shouldn't be fasting.
Definitely.
People who don't deal with hunger very well. There's the list goes on really.
Sure.
So
I mean, most people nowadays they without realizing it. As you know, and you witness with your clients and stuff. I mean, people are in a stress state. This day and age we live in with technology. A lot of people have sedentary jobs. They don't move enough. They're not really prioritizing with certain things like moving, eating the right foods, and kind of exercising properly. So these are the things on the top of the list. Once you get into kind of eating the right foods, then you can bring fasting in as a tool to utilize. So Yeah, we just wanted to clear up how it can benefit, health, longevity, performance in the gym. But also, I mean, you don't have to worry about having big meals. It's no big deal. It's like we've been told to eat little and often and have small meals every couple of hours. In fact, if you try switching to the opposite way and having maybe bigger meals and less of them, you'll probably find it'll benefit you. You'll feel better for the most part, not for everyone. But it's something worth maybe looking into and implementing here and there. Yeah, what's your name on Instagram, and fire off some of your social media handles.
You can follow me on Instagram at Mr. Bond Fitness, BOND, and email inquiries at mrbondfitness@gmail.com.
Yeah, so me and Andrew, I also wanted to say we'll be doing some more online coaching work now. I've got a few slots available, so we're going to be helping people. If you're interested in kind of getting a healthier lifestyle and learning about what foods work for your body and training, and you want a good training plan, which is going to be beneficial long term, me and Andrew are going to be looking to get into that now online as well. So obviously, Andrew just give you his email address, so feel free to fire him an email address if you have any inquiries. Also, just going to fire off my handles. Give me a follow on Instagram. That's where I tend to put most of my stuff on and do my thing. At Martin Silva Fitness. Also, my YouTube channel is also Martin Silva Fitness. If you type that in and subscribe, that'd be great. And what else have I got? Yeah, obviously my podcast. If you could subscribe to this podcast, and more importantly, if you could leave a review, if you like this episode, leave a review, 5-star review ideally. And yeah, optimize your body with Martin Silva. Subscribe on iTunes and leave a review. Be really grateful. We're going to be firing out a few episodes now. I'm going to be more consistent now, more content. So stay tuned, and thanks for listening. Thanks, Andrew, for coming on, mate.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Ta-ra, mate.